I recently had a 24-hour horror movie mind melter, which is when I stream 24 hours of horror films out to whoever wants to watch it, because I am a complete madman. But the most fun thing about this marathon that I do is trying to find movies and share them with people that otherwise wouldn't check them out. I go all across the globe, and by that I mean I search into Google and Letterboxd list to find the movies that I know are great and that I just want to share with as many people as possible. And that 24-hour horror movie mind melter happened. You can find the list on Letterboxd linked below. But now that I have your attention, I'm just going to talk about a few that I think that you should check out. I mean, honestly, I think you should check out all of them, but for just the length of this video, I'm going to talk about a bunch of them that are currently available, and you'll actually find the links to those movies down below. And check them out now, because, you know, the way that these kind of links work, they may be completely gone by the time you are listening to this, many years in the future. So to start off, I'd like to recommend a Indian movie, a Tamil film specifically. It's a horror picture that has the terrible title of Pizza, which tells you nothing. If you read a synopsis of it, it also tells you nothing. But what you need to know going in is that it's a ghost movie. That it's about one guy that goes into a house, gets trapped, and tons of ghostly going-ons happen. That's all I want to say about it. It is a movie that really needs to be discovered, knowing as little as possible, except the context that this is an Indian film. So it's only about 2 hours long. This one doesn't have musical numbers, but it also doesn't have the structure that you would expect. It takes about, I think 40 minutes before you get to the ghostly going-ons, but all of that stuff is very important of really nailing the ending, which I think completely works. Pizza is a film that has had multiple sequels, has been remade multiple times in different languages in India, and once you watch it, you'll be baffled as to why this hasn't been remade in America. But, of course, the original will always be the best, so check out Pizza. Unfortunately, the version that I have linked below is not the original language. It's not in Tamil, it's actually in Telugu, but it's the best that I could find for free that has English subtitles. And so when I do these kind of marathons, I want to try to make sure that I don't just do like Hong Kong movies or just Japanese movies, but sometimes there's stuff that's so good that I need to do two films from that country. So for example, this 24-hour horror movie marathon in 2021, I played two Japanese movies. Haunted School, which is a great series that I had never heard about, probably because it's Toho that produced it, and they're very tight about how they release their films, and it's about a bunch of kids that go to a school and meet all sorts of gooey monster practical effects, giant children, a big insect thing-like monster. Definitely check out Haunted School if you can. Unfortunately, it's not available anywhere on the internet with subtitles like a YouTube, but one that you can find is called Lovely Devils, aka Cute Devil. You can find it on YouTube. Someone did fan subtitles for it because it was a Japanese TV movie. But when you watch it, you would know that. It's directed by the man who did Houseu, a super underrated director. And while Houseu is its own bananas thing, Cute Devils kind of has that energy, especially a classical musical score that never stops. But it also has the way that he loves just experimenting with cinematic style. And the film is an Omen-style story, killer kid film, where a young woman moves in with some family members and finds that the littlest kid could have murderous intentions, could be murdering people. And while it does sound kind of basic, it's really the way that it's executed that makes it what it is. And because it's a TV movie, it's been completely forgotten. But thanks to some people who have fan subtitled it, you can now just find it on YouTube, link below. Give it a watch. It is a delight, and it's one that almost no one has seen unless you're really into that kind of Japanese cinema. For my third film I'd like to recommend, I'll make this one quick. It's We're Going to Eat You, my favorite cannibal film of all time. It's directed by also one of my favorite directors of all time, Troy Hart. It was the second film that he made. He was incredibly angry at the time, and you can feel it in this cinema, which is a goofy martial arts James Bond parody that also features cannibal and a really pointed metaphor about mainland China. So if you want that kind of, 70s style, almost Texas Chainsaw Massacre, but gory and goofy and filled with fun martial arts, choreographed by Korean, then you gotta check out We're Gonna Eat You. And it's all over the place. It was for a while believed to be in public domain, so like Mill Creek put it out. It was released by Media Blasters, but now you can just find it up on YouTube. And now a real find I'd like to recommend, which you can find on YouTube and pretty much only there, is a picture called In the Dark. And the reason that it's a real find is that it's a film that was never released. It was made in the early 2000s. It was an adaptation supposedly not approved of Richard Lehman's In the Dark. If you don't know who Richard Lehman is, he's a real schlockmeister when it comes to horror novels. Basically a splat punk guy. He was writing a lot of books in the early 2000s with titles like The Cellar, and they were really gross, push all the buttons. Not very well written, but in your face. So if that's what you want, you'll definitely find it in Richard Lehman's work. But In the Dark does something interesting, which is it adapts the novel, but it makes drastic changes to it that only improve it. Even Richard Lehman, who saw the picture, said that, oh yeah, the film adaptation is actually better than the book. It's a story of a woman who finds a note that leads her to this game, and the game gets more and more complex until it gets really screwed up and disturbing. But knowing that, it's not a particularly violent film. It's not one filled with jump scares either. It's just the way it kind of rolls out. It's shot on really cheap mini DV, which gives it a great energy. It's directed and edited in a way that you know that the people making the movie really knew what they were doing, until it builds to a climax that will like really stay with you. So if you want something disturbing that almost no one has ever seen, check out In the Dark. And if you're in the mood for something that's very David Lynchian, I would check out Disembodied, which is a film about a young woman who keeps her brain on a desk and also vomits acid that melts people. This is pure Eraserhead, just beauty on screen, full color, odd one-time filmmaker making a feature. It needs to be seen to be believed. It has its own, stripped down vibe. I played it at I think 4 or 5 in the morning, and when you're very out of it, it's a perfect kind of movie to just get enveloped in. You can check it out on Tubi. It's also been released on Blu-ray by Brinks Vision. So it's a film that's accessible, does not have the cult audience that it deserves. Check out Disembodied. And finally, this is the ultimate Halloween movie. It's a little picture. It's only about 30 minutes long, but it also has 15 minutes of bloops. It's a picture called Halloween Party. Like In the Dark, this never really got an official release because it was just made by a bunch of high schoolers for a public access show, Halloween special, and it is glorious. It's just high schoolers mumbling through dialogue, improving, weird edits. You oftentimes hear the director go, action or cut. And it's just a vibe. That vibe of making films with your friends, just representing Halloween. After the 10 minutes of bloops that you'll find on the version of YouTube, search Halloween Party 1989 or just click on the link below. You get a full-on performance choreographed sloppily of the Monster Mash. It's so good. It deserves to be a cult classic. It is one of the greatest appearances of a flush on screen. So check out Halloween Party 1989. And like I said, if you want to know even more of the movies that I played at the 24-hour horror movie Mind Melter, check out the letterbox list below. And I would really appreciate it if you followed me. I have more recommendations, more reviews. I'll keep doing this if people keep subscribing and commenting and liking. Man, I'm really asking a lot, but I appreciate everything that you viewers do. Also, happy Halloween!